Hi there, my name's Matthew Harfman, and you're listening to my good friend Walter from the iWalter Show.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Okay, yeah, it is me. It's Walter. I haven't done a show in a while. I was going to do one tonight, simply because, unfortunately, I had to take off of work. I had taken Friday off as well of last week, and I'll be taking off this Thursday as well because I have a test to get done. It's called a neurological test on Thursday. Nobody really cares. Nobody listens, so I have no worries. Anywho, yeah, I decided to do something tonight because I had a little bit of time. Being off again. I actually went and seen that Logan film today. I was kind of surprised that I didn't think I was going to see it this soon, but I figured, since I'm off, I might as well do something. Now, there's a reason I'm off. I'm not playing hooky from work, trust me. Actually, what happened was Friday I was ready to go to work. I had everything packed and ready to go, and I'm ready to go out the door, and last second I had this sudden pain that was so bad that it just knocked me over. And it felt like somebody, I don't know how to put it, but it's like somebody kicked me in the balls, in the groin or whatever. And it was so painful, though. It was so painful that I just listen, I can't even stand up straight. I can't even bend over to tie my shoes, more or less. Well, I had shoes on, but I'm just saying I could not move. I was in so much, pain, so much agony. So no puns intended. So I end up deciding I'm just going to take off of work. And I'm not very pleased because, hey, I've been trying to work some overtime when I can to pay for some debts down that I had accumulated again on my doing, nobody else's. So there you go, Matt. I just said it. But yeah, because actually the other day I end up buying, I figured, at work, they keep on taking, I find empty desk at work just to sit at for break time because I don't want to be bothered by people. I just kind of be by myself and eat and kind of just enjoy, have me time at work, which, people think that I do it for hours on end. And honestly, on a normal basis, I might do it for a little bit here, maybe an hour or whatever, if it's a long day that I'm working more than 8. But normally I just sit down and take my break, and I kind of just want to relax, jump around on my own laptop and call that my time, not have to be pestered by people. So unfortunately, that hasn't worked because every time somebody catches wind that, hey, Walter's sitting at an empty desk that nobody wanted to sit at, it all of a sudden, the next day would be filled with somebody's stuff and, trying to give me the hint hey, listen, you think you're going to find a place to sit and think you're going to sit all night, which I don't, but they think I do. They're going to make sure it doesn't happen by just occupying that desk, even with some generic name that doesn't even exist, the person doesn't even exist. So I finally, got to the point, it's I just gave up. I've been beyond busy. I've been doing even on a couple hours of overtime I may work. I'm running around. I know I'm using too much. You don't have to tell me. And it's just very difficult to even sit down for a half an hour or 15 minutes. I mean, that's impossible. So it was okay, this is no big deal. But it also, being that busy, it really doesn't give me time to kind of sit down and relax, set up my laptop and stuff. Because that takes a little bit, a couple minutes here and there. Because I have everything in a duffel bag. I got it all, organized in a bag to just, okay, I'm going to set up what I call shop. And, just kind of check out things I enjoy reading or looking at or watching, whatever. Not movies. I don't have time to do that kind of crap. Some people do. I just don't at my job. So that being said, I figured, you know what would be better? I already have a small iPad. That's easy because I can check. I'm trying to read stuff on my phone lately, and I got the bigger one. I got the iPlus 7 Plus phone. And it's like, well, this is good. But even that's not big enough because my eyesight, even with my glasses, it just seems like the eye strain I put on my eyes anymore is just really deteriorating my vision to the point that, even making things bigger seems like not to be enough. I know by the next year when I go to get an eye exam, which at this point it's only for reading glasses, thank goodness, because years ago I had to read them for other stuff as well because I couldn't see anything. And I got corrective surgery. I said this before. So bottom line was I figured, well, I don't have time to, I don't even have like 5 minutes to set up my laptop, at a desk because every time they see me sit at a desk for, just for the night, not that I sit there the whole time, but, set up my stuff. That's all they need to see. And if they see me sitting there for like 5 minutes or 20 minutes and it's like, oh my God, there's Walter again. He's at it again. He's not doing any work. He just wants to sit here all night on company time. But you know what? It's funny. There's other people who will do stuff like that. They used to set up their desk, sit there like pretty much for a couple hours, but that's okay because they're not Walter. So I figure what I'm going to do is I want the best of both worlds where I can kind of take a break and sit down, relax a little bit, but don't have to set up all my cables or my mouse. It's not much. It's just it's more that 10 or 15 minutes. If I can use that, not have to use that time, I'll be a lot happier. So I was telling people because I got like $75 in gift cards from Apple. From using their card. They actually use the bank Barclay USA, or just US, I think it is. So I bought like this, replacement computer. This will all fit together. I bought this replacement computer, and it was like, okay, well, I'm going to see how quickly I can pay it off. So I got it from around $3,000 down to a little over $1,000 now. So that's really good in less than a little over a month, actually 2 months, I should say. So I was surprised. I don't know how I did this. So I got these $75 gift card, or $75 worth of gift cards, and I decided like, well, I got to use them somehow. I don't know where. And I mentioned at work, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll buy one of those iPad Pros. Because those things are like the size of a laptop monitor. They're 12 inches. You are limited what you can do, but for basic web browsing, and actually I found that you can do other things, it's actually not that bad. It's really big. It's not like mobile like the other iPads. I have an iPad mini, but screen size, it's perfect for me because the worry I have right now is it's just like I can't read the view screen. I have a hard time looking at it. So I figured if I got an iPad Pro, I'll look if they have any refurbished ones, which lo and behold they do. Because like the Pros, to get a decent size amount of memory, because you can't upgrade the memory, they go up to 256. But you don't really even use that much. Even 128 is probably fine for if you're not, basically you're just using it for web browsing. You could probably get your email, blah, 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 on the iPad Pro. And it's got the big screen. It's got the screen of a monitor. It's like basically having the way I would have to explain it, it's like a glorified iPhone with a huge screen. I mean, a massive screen. There's no other way to put it. So I figured, well, that wouldn't be too bad. And I don't have to plug anything in unless it goes. It keeps its battery pretty long. Generally, I do try to plug stuff in. So I figure I'll get one of those. The normal price for the one I was looking at, if you bought it at full price, is $1,000. So I'm back almost to where I was at when about 2 months ago, trying to pay down this one credit card debt. Now the thing I was trying to do though was also trying to get one that was not only refurbished, not too expensive, which I did get a refurbished one, by the way. And the refurbished one was like, I think it was like $750. That's a lot of money still, but it's a big screen. I got some extra gadgets. I always buy AppleCare. I recommend that. You buy Apple products, you buy Apple Care. I know it only lasts for 2 years, but a lot can happen in that 2 years. And by then, you're probably going to upgrade anyway. Generally, Apple, I'm sorry, I'm eating something. Generally, Apple upgrades your stuff every 2 years. So, I mean, if you don't have any problems, don't worry about it, because generally, I'm saying it again, if anything's going to happen to your products, it's going to happen within the first 2 years. That's the good thing. So if you have an Apple product and it makes it past the 2-year mark, your warranty is going to be up, your extended warranty, but at the same time, you're not going to have to worry about anything either. As I continue to eat. So, now I'm smacking my lips on mine. That's even better. So, I mean, because I've had some laptops. I know people have had Apples, and where they get to the point that their computer no longer suits their needs, even for simple use. Sorry about that. Is generally, or here I'm going with generally, and likes and other things. It typically goes for about 10 years, which is really good. I tell people, as I continue to chew, that if you have a computer, you're lucky to have it at where you're comfortable and it's not slowing down. I would say about 5 years. I mean, it might be a slight exaggeration, but anything like a shelf life, depending on the computer, people have had them longer. But whatever your shelf life on your computer is, where it's not even shelf life, that it lasts and you're comfortable to speed and it doesn't seem like it's real sluggish, can go anywhere from, I would say 3 to 5 years, but it could be longer, it could be less. It all varies how you use it, and for other reasons or other things too. But whatever you have a computer for, within reason, like a PC, laptop, computer, I would say double that for an Apple, because an Apple, here I go again, would last about that much longer. Almost the lifespan is twice as long. So, which is kind of strange. It's just because Apple, for years, and I think it's slowed down a little bit, but they kind of keep consistent, that they make very good hardware. The only issue is, though, their hardware is made so well, up to a point, that it kind of, makes it that you don't need to upgrade unless you really want to. And the good and bad about that is, though, Apple is more of a hardware company, and the fact that they make stuff that does hold up so well makes it difficult. Now, lately, I mean, it depends. I think when things start to have problems, I don't necessarily think it's the hardware that goes wrong with Apple. I think, because I've heard this from other people, it's that the fact that they have software that they tell you, oh, you need to upgrade your software, and once you do, then you have issues with your hardware. Like, it's something in the software that they put in there that almost seems to sabotage the hardware from working properly. So that's the only way they can get people kind of to upgrade, is by making it difficult for the hardware to work properly. Now, years ago, when Apple was a much smaller market, that wasn't a big issue. Not what I wanted to talk about tonight, because I do have stuff. None of it's important whatsoever. I mean, there is absolutely nothing on my plate that's important. I just figured I'd just try to do a show. That's all. So, bottom line is I got this. Get back to what I was talking about a few seconds ago, or a few minutes ago with me, a few hours ago, if you want to be realistic. It's not been that long, actually. It's only 14 minutes tonight so far. Basically, I wanted to get something I can pull out of my duffel bag, boot her up, and she's ready to go. No ifs, no ifs, ands, or buts. Just plug it in, and it's there. Shut it down when I have to go back to work. Laptop you can kind of do that with, but it's a little bit more involved than I would like it to be. And I was going back and forth. It was like, okay, what I paid for this Apple iPad Pro, I could have probably bought a paper-thin Apple refurbished laptop for about the same price. The only difference is you don't have the touchscreen. And now touchscreen, the nice thing about that is you don't have to pull out a mouse. So there you go. I figured I'd rather have something I can kind of maneuver with my finger on the screen. I don't have to pull out a mouse. I'm only pulling out the tablet. And I did get an external keyboard. Found it cheaper. It was actually half the price it is on Apple, because the keyboard for this Pro, which kind of also works as a cover to protect the screen, I think was $100 on Amazon, but it was $160 on Apple's website. So it was almost half. Now, the problem was I looked around, I shopped around after I made this initial purchase. I plugged in my $75 discount, which really kind of got lost in me, buying something that was kind of hefty in price. But I had $75 still that I didn't have, was taken off. That's like one payment, because I try to pay everything off within a reasonable amount of time. So that part wasn't bad. Well, here is one problem I did have. I figured, well, wait a minute. Let me see if I can find anything cheaper. Like, you also have to buy this thing called they call it the Apple Pencil. Now, the Pencil thing, with how that works, is it basically, it's a stylus that they say you definitely need with the Apple. I'm trying to think. Apple, what do you call it? Apple iPad Pro. You don't need as much for the smaller versions, but the bigger one you kind of do. So it's a stylus, electronic pen you use on the screen. Makes things a little bit maneuverable because you're using a much larger viewing space. I think that's the main reason why they say you do need that. So I was like, okay, I'll throw it in. I'll throw it's in a warranty and stuff like that. Well, here then I looked around. Amazon had things much cheaper for their accessories for this thing. So I was like, okay, well, I can get the accessories for like $60, $70 cheaper here and there. I'm going to buy it, and I'll just buy the main unit, refurbished from Apple, which they do guarantee their stuff because it is good as new. So I had to cancel out this order, repost this order on Apple, and I lost my $75 that I had. Now, generally, there were gift cards. Generally, it takes a while for the gift cards to be able I'll be able to use them again. But at the time I made the purchase, it wasn't. So somewhere I have a hole of $75 that I'll either get back. It was money I never really initially had, but I'll either get back or I won't. So it was interesting. I did this by the way, before this incident that I had to call out sick. Now, I didn't go into that yet. Maybe I should, because I've already gone too far. Even though it's like 18 minutes. That's long for a podcast, I heard. 15 minutes for most. Mine are like 2 hours generally. So I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to be better on my time span. So, let you know why I was out sick was I had these abdominal pains that were extremely, extremely painful. To the point that I just bend over and I could not get up. And it was like, listen, I could barely make it. Like I live in a bi-level with my parents. I could barely get up the steps. I was in so much pain. So I called in the one nurse's aide or whatever you call it, the doctor's aide, and mentioned, well, I found out what I could do until I could see the doctor. I couldn't see her. My doctor's a female doctor. I couldn't see her on Friday because they were just ready to close. I said, listen, I can run down, but I'm not sure if I'll make it on time. So they said, well, just take Advil. So I lived on more Advil than most people should be able to take without doing any physical damage to your body. But I was in so much pain. I was like, I don't care. I'll take as many as I need just to get rid of the pain. And it worked the first day. The second day it was like, okay, maybe I better not take any Advil. So I didn't. And I felt fine, actually. It was like maybe it was just the stuff kicking in or whatever. I even changed a pair of shoes that I had because I have a pair of shoes that I wear all the time that were so worn out that the insoles are like ripping through. They're a pair of Doc Martens. The outer sole, the soles on the shoes are so worn down that there's like actually nothing left to them. They're down, cutting through the air pockets in the Doc Martens. They're that worn out. So that can actually create problems too, because there is no arch support at all in these shoes I wear all the time. Like I literally wear them. I have tons of shoes, but those are the ones that are most comfortable, so I wear those most frequently. So what I ended up doing is I bought another pair of shoes. I was too embarrassed to wear them up until this point because they're like saddle shoes, Doc Marten saddle shoes. I like the style. I just don't like the colors that much, but I ended up wearing those, and it did help a little bit. So I wore those yesterday. I was like, wow, a lot of the pressure that was pushing on my groin was going away. It had dissipated. Kind of disappeared a little bit yesterday. So I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back to work. Hopefully I won't have any more problems. And unfortunately, though, that was not the case because I got out of bed and then it started up again, the pain. I was like, okay, I better call the doctor, see what's going on. I went to see her today, this doctor around my house. And unfortunately, it was embarrassing, folks, because I told friends about this, and it's funny to them. Very nice-looking doctor, younger woman, and she said, well, where's the pain? I said, well, it's around, like, underneath my scrotum, basically, and my groin area, and down my leg, and part of my back, and she felt around my back and everything. And she says, do you feel any pain? And I was like, I feel numbness, but I don't feel any pain. So she finally said, what I'm going to need to do, and she locked the door, make sure nobody would come in at the time. She told me that you have to pull, basically you have to show me, I'll have to feel around. It was like, oh, no. And I said, so I pulled down my jeans. I had jeans on. And she says, I said to her, I said to her, do you need me to pull down my underwear too? And she said, yeah, I need you to pull down your underwear. I was like, oh, boy. So she had a big smile on her face, and I think she was more like trying to keep from laughing. She probably like, God, this guy's 50 years old, but he's hung like a little boy, a little kid. So, that was the most embarrassing thing, folks. So she said, well, there's no swollenness or inflammation, whatever you want to call it. So right away, then she said, well, it can't be that you have, because I asked her, I said, as she was feeling my balls, I asked her, so is it a hernia or something? Because the pain is so bad, it's killing me. She says, no, there's nothing swollen where you would get if you did have, what do you call it, like a hernia or something. There was nothing out of place. So she said what it might be is it has to be. She's not sure. She maybe take a urinalysis or, give urine so she can figure it out. She said it could be that you're passing a kidney stone. And a kidney stone, my brother had those. He had two of them, actually, and they're very painful. So she basically gave me a massive painkiller that was, the side effect is, you got to be careful with it because the side effect, all medicine has side effect. This is for now until she figures out what it is. This is just to alleviate the pain that I've been having. Is that it can give you a heart attack. It's like, okay, so that's a little bit kind of serious. You gave me a massive painkiller I had to pick up at the drugstore, Walgreens around my house. That the side effect says it can give you it could give you a heart attack. It's like, okay. But you know what? I'm in so much pain that I didn't care. It's like, okay, I'll take it. I really don't give a fuck at this point. I'm sorry. So it does work because it was funny. This afternoon I had taken it. And it was like I was feeling so good. It was like, well, I'm afraid to go back to work until this takes effect, this painkiller stuff. But maybe I'll go see Logan, so I'll talk about that a little bit. Not telling you grave details or ruining the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. But it was like, oh, yeah, I feel good. Towards the end of the film, though, it started up again, like it wore off the effect of this medicine. And I started feeling the pain again. I was like, oh my God, yeah, this is definitely the medicine wearing off now. So it's not cool. So bottom line, that's why I called out. And the only thing is, we have this weird system at my job that if you call out, it's held against you. Like I got 2 months worth of sick leave. I can't use any of it because For me being out for a long period of time the year before, it has affected me in the present time where you're not allowed to call out on your sick time that is there for you to use, but you can't use it, which makes no sense. So I got to figure this out. I got a doctor's note, and the thing is, I'm going to try to use it, but I might need like other paperwork just to make sure I won't get this held against me. Because I might even have to go as far as getting paperwork for what's called FMLA, which I really don't want to do, but I might be forced to because they may not let me use my sick time. It's kind of weird. I don't know how to explain it without saying too much. So the whole thing is nonsense. It's ridiculous, but I have to go through it. Thing is, I get 4 weeks vacation and a week's worth of personal time. I may actually have to end up using that. So, I got a couple of things. And then I have a doctor's, I think I mentioned this earlier on the show. I have an appointment on Thursday. So I was out Friday, Monday, and I'll be out Thursday. They're going to think this guy is like a total deadbeat. He's never here. It's like, no, I can't help it. Some of the stuff I set up is stuff they required of me. Because they don't believe like I have a learning disability. I said, hey, I have a learning disability. I had it when I was in college. I had paperwork, but it got lost over the years, and I don't have any more. Well, you need to get the test done again. Well, the test is like, $1,500. Where am I come up $1,500? So I found a place that my insurance will cover it, which is fine. But the only thing is, I don't know if it's going to cover everything, so I might end up going to more debt. So I'll be in a couple grand of debt again. On top of, I'm already in like 17 grand, what is it, $17,000 worth of debt for miscellaneous stuff. I have no clue what it is. I couldn't even tell you. So I'm trying to pay that down. It comes out every week out of my paycheck anyway, that money. It's slowly trickling down because I think originally I owed like $22,000 or $27,000. I got it down to like 16, 17. So I paid over $10,000 last year at least, maybe more. So now I'm, but the way I pay off my debts is by making more debt. I think that's just like a human thing or whatever. I don't know what you call it. The thing we do in the U.S. What? I don't know. But my friend Matt's going, what did he just say? You make no sense, Walter. Well, hey, don't listen to me then. Most people don't, so just don't listen to me. I'll be down to 0 listeners then. But yeah, seriously. It's just like, it seems like you never get out of debt. Death and taxes are two things they say you never can escape, and it's true. So anyway, I'll read a couple stories, keep this short because I was supposed to keep it around 15 minutes, and already it's a half an hour. It's going to be an hour by the time I'm done, and I don't know when I'll do a show again. So, interesting thing was on Sunday, by the way, that's later on stuff. I'm going to read these things in the order I put them up. I turn on the radio, folks, and I hear on... Oh, no, I get a thing on my iPhone. I apologize. See if there's any news now. I got all this stuff for like Fox News and conservative news on my phone, and it popped up. I forget where I was, maybe going to the bathroom or at work. No, it was Sunday, so it definitely wasn't either or. I think it was the bathroom, washing up, getting out of bed and washing up, and it was an afternoon. And this thing popped up on my screen. That's what it was. On my iPhone, it said, yeah, Trump just basically tweeted accusing President Obama. It was this link called News on my, here's top stories, news for whatever is on top of the news. So what came up was Trump accusing Obama of wiretapping since, before he even became president. Trump did that. Obama had everything set up to wiretap Trump, and then making these accusations that he's working with the Russians, meaning that Trump is working with the Russians. Obama is accusing Trump. So Trump's thing was on Sunday, it's like, okay, if you keep on accusing me and you're not going to give up, you're going to keep on fighting this issue. The news is actually supporting Obama on these accusations with no evidence to back it up. I'm going to do the same for you. And that's what I think this is all about. But what I read was that Trump now on Sunday, had accused Barack Obama of basically wiretapping him, which is illegal. This is like Watergate stuff practically. I think it is. I'm not going to say I know because I really don't. So that I think I heard that on Rush, though. I think he referred, made a comparison somehow like that. So first thing today, I had to, when it was 12 o'clock, I had to make sure I turned on Rush right away to see what he was going to say. And the first thing he was talking about this. Now, that was one thing. Now, I'm going to kind of skip around and go back to where these things go in order. The other thing that I heard on Sunday, I figured after I heard this, or read this, I have to see what is going on. I got to shut this down. My computer locked up on my stories. I had to see what was going on by listening to it while I was getting ready, taking a shower and things like that. What else was going on in the news that was kind of interesting? So I had to download. I was going to different apps. I finally found Fox Live. Went to that. All my stories shut down anyway, so I'm going to have to go in some type of order as they come, so to speak. So I found a Fox News link on the internet on my phone, plugged it into an external speaker, listened to that. And lo and behold, the first thing they do is they're picking on, what is her name? Kellyanne Conway. They were ripping her a new asshole in Fox. It's God, now Fox is part of this bullshit of basically, making accusations that are not true, not only on Trump, because I think Fox has now started doing that, but also on, his right-hand woman. I think if I remember correctly, I asked people, I never heard a response. Now, if I may get this wrong on my radio show, I will hear about it. But I did ask way ahead of time. But I think she is his campaign manager or something like that. Conway. Wait, my thing's starting to. Conway. What is her name again? Let's see, because I just had it here. Kellyanne Conway. So she was on a Fox News live show, and she was getting ripped apart, so she basically just gave it back. She started giving it back, and I was like, good for you. And they were even making comments, because I had to look this one up. Conway was getting accused the way she dressed in red, white, and blue for something she wanted to. And her defense was, I forget what the whole situation is. I'm looking at two of the articles I had. I mean, she's not even doing anything wrong. They're just ripping her apart. She's actually not bad looking. She's in her 50s. I'm 50 now. And she looks really good for her age. And, she dresses, in a patriotic way. But yet they just bust on her for the way her dress attire is. There's nothing wrong with the way she dresses. You're just being assholes. Now, this is between Fox and other things. They were just ripping her. They were making, these are just false accusations from Trump. But when Trump makes an accusation, it's an accusation. When Barack Obama makes an accusation, it's pretty much taken as the truth. So it's a double standard, and they did actually mention that. I think Rush did, or something else I was listening to, that was mentioned that there's this double standard. When they mention anything with Barack Obama, everybody becomes automatically too afraid to talk about the first African-American president, but yet when they talk about Trump, which this was expected, but not this much, then all of a sudden, there's no holds bar, whatever you call it. It automatically ripped the man apart, and they don't stop. They just don't stop. And now Fox is doing it. And I heard this yesterday, and it just really got under my skin with the way they're ripping Kellyanne Conway apart and then Trump apart, making everything into accusations. And it's hard to believe because all this stuff happened yesterday. And it's still Monday, but it happened yesterday on Sunday, and they're making it out like this happened, these accusations that Trump made happened a long time ago. No, they just started yesterday because he made a tweet. And in the tweet, he said that he was blaming Obama for wiretapping. It was well, he's just fighting fire with fire. That's what the man did before. That's how he won. Is by, if you're going to fight, you're going to make up false accusations about me or start attacking me, I will do the same thing back. And, you can say what you like. You can call it childish or whatever. But this is the way you have to fight with these the liberal left. You have to fight on their grounds and literally fight fire with fire. I mean, it sounds like, well, that's not being mature. Well, if you want to do it a different way, look where it's got the Republicans in the past. It has absolutely got them nowhere. And I know why he's kind of, I'm guessing why Trump's doing this is the only way you're going to stop these allegations against him is you got to start making some about Obama. So he'll finally let go of this vice grip that he has on Trump, or trying to. And what the liberal media is doing to get them to, shut their freaking mouths, because they're just not giving up. They keep on attacking the man and everyone around him as being this guilty party of something. The Republicans, conservatives, I don't even want to say this to Republicans, because they're basically just going to bend over right away. Now, this is exactly why I even said, as much as I like to see Ted Cruz had been in the office, I'm glad that we got Trump, because Ted Cruz would have probably buckled at this point. I'm sorry to say, I like the man a lot. I think he's really cool. But I think any other candidate on the Republican side, if they were dealt with what Trump has been dealt with in 5 weeks, they would have buckled by now. I'm sorry. They would have buckled like 3 weeks ago. So it's only been 5 weeks, believe it or not, because I remember them saying that yesterday when I was listening to the live news on Fox on my iPhone while I was getting ready. They were saying, they were talking actually to Kellyanne Conway in this one interview, and they were saying, he's been in office for 5 weeks. He should have got all this stuff. This is on Fox. He should have gotten all this stuff done. X, Y, and Z should have been already accomplished. He's had a whole 5 weeks to do it in. And Kellyanne Conway attacks right back, and she says, yes, he's only been in office for 5 weeks. So Fox is now doing the same thing as everybody else is, and they're being jerks. They're being really big dicks. So I was not happy about the whole thing, folks, obviously. Now, I'm going to have to cut this short. I might just, change my setup tonight. I didn't expect to do a show anyway, but I am. So the things that it was Elite Daily says Kellyanne Conway's rude comment about black yoga pants will deeply offend you. No, I think she actually stuck up for herself is more like it. You're attacking this poor woman for the way she dresses. And then Kellyanne's response was, sorry to offend black stretch pant women of America with a little Keller. Because she actually is wearing, feminine clothes, not just spandex or yoga pants. Because she says everything that women wear nowadays don't have belts and other things. I mean, it's just basically, it's a glorified pair of sweatpants, but basically that your ass is hanging out of. And she's not going to go for that. And she kind of gave it back. I don't find anything wrong with that, with Kellyanne's comments, because she basically attacked women who wear yoga pants. Now, there's another one. There was an article, or did I already read this one? It says Kellyanne Conway's rude comment about black yoga pants will deeply offend you. Yeah, I did read that one. There was 2 different articles. The other one was from Media ITE. Excuse me, sorry. Mediaite is actually what it said. That one actually has on there, which is probably, I don't care, because they're all attacking the whole Trump party now. The other one says, Conway defends inaugural outfit. That's when it happened, during inauguration. Sorry to offend the black stretch pants women of America. This was from Mediaite. Pretty much said the same thing, actually. So she did not say anything wrong. The woman, is dressing a little bit more classy, a little bit more jazzy than just basically what she's saying, than a pair of yoga pants or a pair of spandex pants that your ass is and your vagina's popping out of. She's actually dressing a little bit more snazzy. So there's nothing wrong with that. But, they got to make a thing. Oh, you're offending these women who want to wear basically workout outfits to everything now, even to professional inauguration the inauguration period, not professional. It is professional, but I'm not making any sense. But to the inauguration. Hey, I'm going to dress up. I'm not going to wear a workout outfit to everything just because I want everybody to look at me or because I'm just fucking lazy. I don't want to put on regular clothes. And I don't have a brain in my head. Well, no, I'm referring that, to the other people that are attacking Kellyanne. So, I had to applaud her for when I heard that on Fox when I was getting ready yesterday. I was definitely applauding Kellyanne for that. I was like, I'm glad there's women out there, a woman out there who's not going to take this bullshit. And she's not going to take it standing up. She had to actually suffer through Kellyanne yesterday on Fox. What do you think about what this accusation that Trump is making against Obama? It's like, well, I hate to tell you, and I forget what Kellyanne, honestly, what she said, but she was defending that, which I'm glad she did. She was sticking by the person who she got helped get into office. She's not backing down on that, which I applaud her for that, and I applaud Kellyanne for also sticking up for herself and not taking this bull crap when people say, we find you offensive when we try to offend you. They were trying to rip her a new a-hole, saying how she dressed was really loud looking or just looked unprofessional or whatever they said. But they were basically trying to attack Kellyanne. So she returned the attacks just like Trump would. And I applaud her for that. But yet, hey, you can't offend us. If we belittle you or demonize you, you're not allowed to do it to us because that's not fair. And they get like crybabies. But, finally, they got, the thing is, though, what I'm trying to say is why I applaud this, is finally there's somebody, there's people that, no matter what is said, are minus maybe one person so far, who will not back down. Okay, you can pick on me or you can pick on the president that I had supported until he got elected, but I'm not going to step down. And that's what I like. That's what I like about this party. I like strong people. And I'm seeing it with with Kellyanne, some other people that and Pence. These people aren't going to step down. They're going to support their president. I'm going to support my president. But these babies, and when I saw it from Fox yesterday, it was the most appalling thing I've seen in a long time. I'm telling you. So anyway, that was my highlight of yesterday, minus the extreme pain of now possibly having a kidney stone, which I'll have to pass somehow, unless they can break it down through medicine. So, yeah, and then spending money, and I actually spend more money. I got my form in the mail from PennDOT to renew my... What is it? I'm looking at it right now in front of my face, and I can't even figure it out. My registration for my car. So now, actually, Pennsylvania, you can do it for 2 years at a time instead of just every year. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll pay the 2 years, so I don't have to worry about it now until, 2017, 18, 19, till 2019. So I'll pay the extra money, but I don't even have the extra money, so that's another credit card bill. For 2 years, it was $77. I think it was $44 or $47 or something like that for 1 year. It's like, you know what? It's a little cheaper. You're saving like a couple bucks. Then you don't have to worry about it, but I'll do it. I'll do it up front just to get it out of the way. I don't want to see it again. So, but that, again, I just got myself into more debt with that. So I was not happy about that. But it's something that has to be done. You don't want to drive without your registration or your license or your insurance, which most people do, and they get away with it. But you know what? Me, I would not. So I didn't want to take that chance. One of the stories I had to shut down, and I'm just going to look at the title because it is actually at 3/4 of 1 hour already. A friend, I think, sent me this story, and it's amusing to read these. Alternative Media Syndicate, I think, .com. Is that what it is it comes from? I'm trying to find out. Yeah, it's something like that. Well, it's on my Facebook page. You're going to have to figure it out this time on your own. Title, story, Ohio Mayor dedicated life to Christ, admits that he raped a 4-year-old, blames her, so it was obviously a little girl, a 4-year-old girl, and he says, quote unquote, she was willing and consented to the molestation. So this guy is like, he's 65. And he said, admits to raping a 4-year-old child over a 3-year period. So 4-year-old over a 3-year period. So she was 1 year old when he started. And he said it was consensual. So I think the reason my friend sent this to me, because I notice a lot of people, I'm Christian by default. I don't know how else to put it. But I don't practice my Christianity. I believe in God, but I don't have to go to church to prove that. I mean, that's just... To me, it's a whole propaganda thing, in my opinion. So I told my one friend this, and I think that's why when he found this article, he had to send it to me, that, generally people who are, into something, if it's religion or, stronghold on politics, they don't practice what they preach. They're basically hypocrites. Now, that probably didn't make any sense, but the hypocrite part should. So he sent me that, so I thank you. I think that might have been Todd. I have one which I have no clue about. There was some story that a friend, his face did pop on my friend Todd, where he sent me a story. Creeping hockey mask shoves reporter during live broadcast, and the guy has literally a hockey mask. Not quite like Jason Voorhees, but it's the same idea. I did place a story up, by the way. It's what's behind President Trump's angry tweets that President Obama tapped his phones. See, right away, and that was on Apple News. It was, every news source, folks, I read today, it's an accusation with nothing to back it up. And they're saying how Trump needs to stop making these accusations against other people about how, this one right now, presently, is on the wiretapping. Okay, so he needs to step back, folks, on this nonsense that, hey, you'll have nothing to back up. I don't even call it nonsense, because Trump so far, everything he's speculated apparently has substance to it, and it ends up being true. How he does it, nobody knows, because Rush mentioned this. And I think he's finally, like I said, I'm glancing through it right now. I'm not going to read it. It's a pretty long article. These are accusations that are made against, how can I say this? He's getting accusations made against him, but that's okay. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He's getting accusations constantly, and Obama does seem to have, he stayed in Washington, D.C., Obama, just to keep a watchful eye on Trump and find fault in everything he freaking does. But that's all right, folks, because the news is supporting him on this. And most of other people who are on Obama's side. Did I say that correctly, by the way? But Obama has done so much. He's been a true recluse. He's been, he endangered our country, sevenfold for the, 8 years he's been in office. He's made a disaster out of everything. We have more poverty, more hate crime, more hatred in our country. We are more susceptible, is that the right word, against attack from other countries because of weakening our military. And the guy was a complete man-child when he was in office, Obama, but everybody thought he was, till this day, they think he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's destroyed our nation all, through and through. So, now Trump has finally had enough, and he's like, this man has wiretapped me. Now, again, judging by what he said before, Trump has said and made accusations, most of his accusations come out to be true, like 99% of the time. Obama makes accusations about Trump, and 99% of the time, they end up being false. So there's a big difference. I didn't want to read this article, but I'm going to read the first paragraph, and that's about it. Early Saturday morning, President Donald Trump tweeted that he just found out that former President Barack Obama, quote, had my wiretapped in Trump Towers just before the election. Trump then claimed his phones specifically were tapped by Obama in October and added, this is Nixon/Watergate bad or sick guy explanation point. So you can read the rest. Let me see. It is on my Facebook page, and it's from some web link called Vox.com. Now, again, Trump's been he's been a hard hitter. He's been giving back what's been, I think it's justifiably right what he's been doing, Trump, attacking back Obama. And he's been correct on every accusation he's made against the liberal left, the media, the fake news, and everyone who else has attacked him. He's been correct on that. So, this one more thing, as like even I listened to Rush today, he said he's not been wrong yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he's correct about this, on these accusations that Obama has truly wiretapped the Trump Tower and other things just to sabotage this election, because they thought that they really had Hillary in the bag, that she would have been the next president and continue on with Obama's legacy, which is obviously now being defused. They are still working on getting rid of the Obamacare as well as I speak. Anyway, it's got 10 more minutes left, so I'm going to see what I can get in. I'm going to keep it within an hour. But that whole thing only happened hours ago, folks. And it seems like it's been going on forever, because just the way they tried to destroy this man, and they just don't give up. They're like big children. And I'm talking the Democrats, the liberal left of all sorts, including the liberal media, the fake news, as Trump would put it. I mean, there is no stop to this. And it's just like, aren't you like exhausted by now from, putting so much energy into trying to sabotage one man, which is only going to hurt everyone else in this country? People don't realize that. Anyway, a friend sent this to me. Actually, he put in a private message, I think, so I put up Paul Thomas, so thank you. It was a TV show I really never watched, but it was kind of amusing, and it kind of lightens this whole thing. It was from the Daily UK Mail, by the way, the story. That 70s show actor and Scientologist Danny Masterson is accused of raping 3 female former members of the church. So, I've never really watched the show, so I can't really speak upon this show or Masterson himself, because I don't know much about it. I don't know anything. But it was kind of amusing. It's a story, again, from the Daily UK Mail. Amusing enough that I had to post it in my set of stories. So I could go into a discussion about it, but you know what? It's not worth it, because I'm actually at almost an hour now. So, I just don't want to make this show go on. It's already past what most people will listen to. That's what I've been told. So, let me see if I can find anything. Oh, here's something. Actually, I saw these women. They are incredible. I saw these women. They're called Hillywood. They make these music videos of different amusing ones of different types. 2 girls. I saw them at a Vampire Diaries convention quite a few years ago at this point. I'm not even kidding. It was quite a few years back. And they made a new parody. Again, they're called Hillywood. And I never knew who these girls were. I just remember seeing them at the convention. It was like, well, what's so special about them? Then I caught wind of a couple of their music videos they do, like parody videos of Doctor Who and other things. Well, they did one on Suicide Squad with Harley Quinn and the Joker, and they did such a fantastic job with it. I mean, an incredible job. I definitely had to respond back, which I did. I said, this is like their best one yet. Keep up the good work, things like that. I didn't get any response back either way. No replies, no nothing. But I thought the video was really good. I said it was fantastic. I did it 21 hours ago, and ironically, nobody responded back to me or even said, hey, nice comment. But other people after me have gotten replies. Actually, one person got almost 6,000 replies. Less than a few, yeah. Well, it says 2 days ago now, but yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, even people after my response have gotten like a couple hundred replies. It's not that big of a deal. I'm surprised. So, but Hillywood, and you look for the one. It's called Suicide Squad Parody by Hillywood Show. Yeah, again, these girls are really good. Some of the stuff is really funny. It's really cool. They put a lot of money and effort into their things. I think they are, obviously definitely professional web video casters, whatever you want to call it. And the one they had just recently did is probably one of their best. So I just wanted to mention that. Actually, I'm just posting something. Yesterday, actually, between trying to suffer through the pain, I also was watching some old Doctor Who's with John Pertwee, which I had purchased because I haven't seen them in a while, and obviously they don't show the old ones like they used to. So it was a double episode with, what was it? It was with the Master, Roger Delgado, and I don't have it on hand, so I can't tell you what it is. I don't know if I can pull it up real quick. The second part was with dialects. So, the dialects. I'm probably not saying that right. So let me see if I can find this real quick. It actually came from England, ordered from the U.S. on Amazon, and it came surprisingly very fast. Here we go. It was called Doctor Who Dialect War Collection, Frontier in Space, in Planet of the Dialects. Import, which I can play. I got a region-free Blu-ray player that plays DVDs, and I prefer it this way. So it was like, I think, $15. That's why I bought it, but the reason it was so cheap, because that set of two episodes separately were like $20 a pop. I got both of them for $15 because it came from England, and most people, they're trying to buy stuff and say, hey, it doesn't play on my Blu-ray player or my DVD player. And it's like, well, I don't have that problem, so I'll buy it. And lo and behold, I already actually owned one of the episodes, so it was cheaper just to buy the one again, known as, let's see, Planet of Dialects, which is one of my favorite John Pertwee episodes. There's a lot of them I just, they're okay. But that one in particular was actually really good. And there's a couple like John Pertwee episodes that are like not bad at all, because I'm not a big Pertwee fan. But there's a couple that just like stick out of my mind as like, yeah, these are really good. I kind of would like to see those again. And yeah, here's another one I want to try to get sometime called Day of the Dialects, Doctor Who episode with John Pertwee. There's a couple, like I said, that are just really, really good. And that 2-box set was $15 because it came from England, and people can't play them over here unless you have the proper player, which I do. And yeah, it came, and I watched the first one. It was like, yeah, this is actually interesting because I haven't seen it in years, and I was watching that though. So just to break up the monotony, I'm gonna have to go back to that. And by the way, if you go to my Facebook page, there was a lot of different articles. It's getting closer now to the Wonder Woman movie coming out, which it does look really good. It does look really, really good. So this is going to be like between the Wonder Woman Justice League movie, and then I think there's a couple other different movies coming out from the DC universe. I'm actually looking forward to it. And by the way, I did catch this, but there's even a more discussed one online. But Alien Covenant, I finally got to see a theatrical trailer, but the ones you can get online are actually much more grotesque than when you're seeing the theater. So, and there was a Deadpool teaser before the movie Wolverine, by the way, just let people know. There is no spoilers at the end of the movie because I try to, or spoilers, extras at the end of the film. I sat through all the credits expecting to see more at the end of Logan and the Wolverine movie, and there was nothing, Logan, basically. By the way, I did put this up on my Facebook page. It actually looks pretty promising because I like different types of science fiction movies, superhero movies. This is more on the line of science fiction, I would think. But they're making another Power Rangers movie. Now, you're thinking, Power Rangers, isn't that a goofy kids show? Yeah, well, it's still probably geared towards kids, but they made it a lot more modern. And at first I was like, wow, this is going to be another, what do you call it? Power Rangers movie. It's going to be another goofy, silly movie for kids. No, they're actually trying to shoot for a more theatrical look. It's got kids in there because that's what the Power Rangers are. They're a bunch of kids. But they actually stepped it up like tremendously to make it look like more like the Transformer films. You know, less of the cheese fest that the original TV show had. It made it more of, on the lines of probably not quite the same, but more upscale towards Transformers being more a film for everybody to see, not just children. So I was kind of surprised by that. Sorry about that. I'm looking and make sure everything's running properly. So anyway, there's that, and I'm actually over an hour. God, I have the gift of gab, and I didn't even go through everything I wanted to go. So, again, I didn't want to ruin anything, and I won't, but I'll put it in, like, very quick words for Logan. I went and seen it this afternoon. The movie, obviously you have to have some know-how of the background on of the X-Men, but this is like, I think 20 or whatever, what is it? It's far in the future where everybody is pretty much gone. Like all the other mutants are no longer alive, is what I gathered. They're dead. So Wolverine's the only mutant alive minus two other ones. The other mutants are gone. So that's what I'm gathering. So this is like far in the future, like mutants are no longer, are pretty much, they don't exist. Except one or two. Actually, let me rephrase that. Like three of the original group of, what do you call it, mutants. So that's number one. And, but that alone should let you know that the movie was extremely depressing. Like it's just like, it starts out like at a sour note because it's far in the future. It's just depressing because Logan is very old, and he's still Wolverine, but he's very old, and it's beyond the X-Men that we kind of known for the last decade or two, I guess, of movies, and probably further back, obviously, with the comics. Now, to me, from I gathered, like not ever reading them, but my understanding of Wolverine from the comic books, this had more of that kind of feel. This was a rated R movie, so it was much. But the thing is, it's much darker, very, very dark. I think Wolverine, the character, came out, I think in the 70s, like during the like Vietnam War and stuff. Well, that was the 60s. What am I saying? But in the 70s, let me check if I can figure it out. I'm going to try to put in right now Wolverine comics. What's coming up with the movie now? 1974. So first appearance, Incredible Hulk was when Wolverine was introduced. But the whole premise of the original Wolverine was pretty much during, Wolverine came around out of, in the comics, the whole story behind Wolverine was that he came out, the storyline, I think, was more like towards Vietnam and stuff. Even though it was 74, you're talking like mid 60s, 1970 was when all the hype or what happened to the people that fought in Vietnam was, pretty much fresh on people's minds. But Wolverine, the character did come around in 1974, but that premise for that character was on that type of feel. And you never really saw in any of the other films. I don't think you really did. But I know with this new one, it definitely had the feel of what they originally intended the character, kind of, in my opinion, what they intended the character to to be like. So, and that alone was just like, it's a gritty character, very dark. The time that it was put out was probably, people that were pretty much against Vietnam and stuff, and the character was, something on that line, coming out of Vietnam War and stuff, or being a soldier, I think. I don't really know. I'm not a very good person to, describe or try to act like I know what I'm talking about. Well, it's funny. I'm looking at it now, but they're showing comics that were shown in the movie. I'm going to have to post my Facebook page. That he was saying, well, this is not true to life. The character of Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, was saying, he was looking, one of the characters had all these old comic books, which they thought that these comics would really happen with the X-Men. And he was like, these aren't even close to what really happened in real life. But, and I'm looking at it, and these are right from the movie, too. These comics, they were used in the movie as well. The comic books, not like the scenes, but the comic books. So anyway, it's very dark. It has a very gritty feel. It's very gruesome. It's very extremely depressing. It's the most depressing film I've seen. It starts out depressing, it gets more depressing, and it just ends in a very gloomy note. And they don't leave any cliffhangers. Somebody told me, I should have stuck through the credits. There was going to be a cliffhanger. No, actually, there was absolutely no cliffhanger. So it was basically, all I'll say is just don't bother to sit through the credits. You don't need to. But it was just a very emotional, very dark film. I didn't think it was going to be that dark. And it was very, I don't want to say gory, but that might be probably the most appropriate thing to say. It was a bit for a comic book-based movie. This one was very, very dark, very gruesome, very violent. I have to say at least violent. So that part kind of surprised me. Unfortunately, I've been drinking a lot of water because I have to wash whatever's in my system out, So I came in, and it was like I tried to hold out, but I missed like maybe a couple seconds where it was the appropriate spot. For the most part, though, I sat through the whole movie from credit to credit, beginning to end, from the first credit to the very last one where there's nothing else to see. And it was intense. The movie was very intense. It was definitely worth the money I paid. But I'm not saying anything about the film. I don't think I did. But, yeah, it's just dark, very it starts out on a very depressing note, and it just goes downhill from there. I'm not saying it's depressing because it's bad. It's just it's a horrible it's a very sad film to watch. So, and if you like those kind of films, if you want something that's very well put together, it's not like there's a lot of action, but not a lot of scenery. It's pretty much all the same. It's a low-key kind of feel to the film, but the way I felt that it was put together, it was actually very well executed, and it's a very intense story that will keep your attention, I think. I could be wrong, because I've been wrong before multitude of times, so I'm not going to say any more. So anyway, other than that, I already went into the stories about Trump. Real quick, some friends, maybe Todd, basically, is the only one. Send me some stories. They're a little goofy, but I'll just read the titles because it is past an hour, and just leave it at the titles. One he sent me was, Postman is arrested for having sex with a friendly dog on his route. So I made a joke back, and I said, well, maybe the dog was too sexy and, was being too provocative, so the guy felt compelled to rape the dog. So, I didn't know what else to say. Yeah, that's not important. What it was interesting was from Lancaster, PA, where it says 2 children in hospital after drinking caustic substance at a restaurant. This was from the Dreamin' Demon. This is one I came up with. That's pretty bad. 2 children were rushed to the hospital with severe burning in their mouth and throat after drinking caustic chemicals at a Pennsylvania restaurant. That part kind of scared me because, was it deliberate? Was it accidental? I don't know. I haven't read it, but it's just really scary. I mean, caustic means it's going to do permanent damage and can even kill these poor little kids. It's like, basically, put in layman's terms, something that's caustic would be like accidentally or deliberately at this restaurant is putting in the kid's drinking glass instead of water, putting Drano. I mean, that's what caustic would be. So that's why it's very scary. I mean, you kind of would smell something that is caustic. I think it would give off a certain aroma, but who knows? So there was that. There was a story I found. Twin sisters, 97, froze to death after falling outside of Rhode Island home. That was Dreamin' Demon. I found that one. I don't know what that was about. And I don't think there's much more for me to say, especially at this point because it's past an hour. But anyway, folks, hope you enjoyed what I mentioned tonight, even though it's way over an hour. Maybe we'll get one listener again. I always hope for at least one listener. I actually always hope for more than one listener. But you know what? Neither one of those happened, so I'll take the bad with the bad. Everyone have a good evening. This is Walter from iWalter, and I am signing off.